Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Sensory Lifestyle Live. I'm so excited to see you guys here. And today we're going to be talking all about pencil grasps. So, in today's kind of live, we will be talking about, what is a functional pencil grasp, what is an inefficient pencil grasp, why do we need to have good pencil grasp, as well as what you can do to make sure that you can help your child kind of develop that good pencil grasp. Okay, so let's start talking about why you need to have a good pencil grasp. A pencil grasp, a functional pencil grasp, what it does is that it actually allows you to be able to easily move your fingers. If you're able to easily move your fingers, it does a couple of things. It helps you to be able to write neatly, and it also helps you to make sure that you're able to have a good speed. So, when your child kind of picks up for kind of the crayons for the first time, they of course don't start holding the pencil in a perfect functional grasp. And the reason being is they just don't have those same fine motor skills that we do. So they really start with, kind of holding the pencils like in the fist. So that's kind of, 1 to 1.5 year olds, they'll be drawing it like that. Then it will be moving on to more a grasp kind of like that. And that's kind of 2 to 3 year olds. They're going to do that. Then from around 3.5 to 4 years, you'll start kind of, get seeing them holding the pencil, move their fingers, trying to figure it out. But there's going to be much more movement in kind of the shoulders and kind of the hands here versus the fingers. It's only when they, between 4.5 to 5 years of age that you'll be starting to see much more movement in the fingers. So, what is a functional grasp? A functional grasp doesn't necessarily have to be that perfect, kind of tripod grasps, which you hear a lot of occupational therapists kind of talking about, right? So it doesn't have to be that. But what a functional pencil grasp has to do is have to make sure that you are writing efficiently. So you're able to complete your work in a timely manner. What you also want to make sure is your writing is legible. So the pencil grasp allows you to form neat letters so that you're able to read your writing, but also somebody else can read your writing as well. And then you want to make sure that structurally that you're holding the pencil correctly. So you want to make sure that you avoid positions of holding your pencil where the hands are in pain and you are unable to kind of use those fingers to be able to form the letters. So on the flip side, right, the inefficient pencil grasp, what you might see is, when the kids hold their pencils and, they hold them really, really kind of like, where you kind of see, I don't know if you guys can see kind of my change of skin color here. So when you see kind of they press so hard that the color starts changing, or kind of those hypermobile joints where you just kind of the hyperextended joints, and I can't really do it very well with my fingers, but it's when those joints kind of get really kind of like really bendy, and even like the thumb and all those joints, you want to avoid those kind of positions. You want to kind of avoid a grasp. So an inefficient grasp is one that the kids really hold the pencil really tightly, or they press really, really, really tight when they're writing, or the opposite, really, really lightly. None of those are efficient. Also, that when they're moving, they pencil trying to write. It's all kind of the movement happening in the shoulders, right? Or having that wrist hooked like this. If you have a pencil around, try holding your pencil like in this wrist and see how much movement you have. If you don't have a pencil, just try holding your hand like this and kind of move your fingers and see how much pain you're actually getting here versus, which is what we want, is the wrist kind of slightly bent up when we write, and how much easier is it to move those fingers. So an inefficient grasp kind of moves your wrist down like that as well. And then you want to make sure that those fingers, as I said, they're moving well. So you're not using the whole hand, but you're using kind of the distal joints, which is kind of the fingers. So how can you basically help your kiddo get those get that pencil grasp going? And I also want to make sure, which I didn't mention at the beginning, if you guys do have any questions, please make sure you write them in, and I'll be happy to answer them. So when a kiddo starts kind of learning how to write use their pencil, hold their pencil, sorry, they don't start, being perfect straight away. They need to be taught how to hold that pencil, and they need to practice a lot. It's like when you're thinking about, when your kiddo's writing a new task, whether it's riding a bicycle or something completely new, or even just walking, right? They don't get up and walk straight away. They need a lot of practice, a lot of practice. The same goes with maintaining that good functional pencil grasp. So to kind of be able to do that, they also need to have mastered a lot of underlying skills. Now, what are those skills? So basically, it all starts off by having an established core. So your strong core and your strong muscles in your shoulders. And the kids that kind of the older kiddos that write with their shoulder and their forearm, that's the key. That's what you want to avoid. So getting a strong core and the strong shoulders you can really get that by spending a lot of time outside, getting your kiddos to climb and those different playground structures, getting them to roll around outside, and really getting them to challenge their body by doing different movement things. So, getting them to all the different playgrounds, so they get the opportunity to challenge their bodies different ways, and maybe taking them to different parks where there's different trees, different rocks to climb and explore, or different terrain, rivers and things like that, fallen logs that they have to kind of climb over. All those great things, and lifting those heavy logs and things like that, or heavy buckets of sand, will really start working on strengthening that core and strengthening those shoulders. And once we have that base strong, then the hands are easier to move. So the next thing that you want is that stability in the wrist, right? So the more stable the wrist, and you're able to form that nice position versus that hooked wrist. So you're able to form that nice position and move your fingers easier. To get nice, good, strong wrist, what you want to be doing is maybe lots of kind of crawling activities. Twister is also a fun game because that forces the wrist going that way. Also, doing lots and lots of vertical work. So, whether it's writing on an easel, or drawing on an easel or whiteboard, or simply getting a large piece of paper, sticking it on the wall, and having them draw, color, write, whatever it is. As long as the wrist is being held up, which is what vertical work is kind of forcing your kids to be able to do. You can also get washi tape, and your kids can create different kind of designs on the wall, or you can do letters with the washi tape. And then they can grab a pencil, a crayon, and marker, and kind of try to trace inside of it. That's also kind of a fun strategy. So after we have strong core, strong shoulders, strong wrist, we want to kind of look at those fingers. We want to get a nice finger separation. So those finger separation basically is these 3 fingers are your pencil movers. So these are the fingers that you want to be able to kind of separate from the second, kind of this part of your hand. There are kids who you might see, they kind of holding their pencils, but these fingers are kind of coming out. A great strategy that I use is you can get a pom-pom or just a small piece of paper that's crumbled, and you put it kind of sorry, it's a little bit tricky to kind of put it in the palm, get these two fingers to grab it, and then they have to hold on to it as they actually are writing. This will really help them keep those fingers back. Some of the really fun games that can help with developing that kind of separation of those hands is using a spray bottles. Spray bottles are super fun. The kids can go outside and spray plants, or they can draw something with the chalk and then try to spray it off, or go around spraying each other if it's warm enough, or spider webs. That's a really kind of a fun tool to kind of play with. Those handheld hole punches, they're also really, really cool to kind of help to develop that skill as well. The next thing that we want is we want to have good sensory awareness in our fingers. A good sensation in your fingers will allow you to be able to grade the amount of force that you put on the finger and on the paper. Now, the sense that is responsible for doing it is the proprioceptive sense. That sense has the receptors in the muscles, in the tendons, in the joints, and that's the one that's also responsible for you to be able to grade how much force. So the kiddos that really write super duper hard by pressing. I mean, you can even think about if you're using so much force to write, after a couple of words, the hand's going to be exhausted. And that's why we kind of want to avoid that, because you want to make sure that you are efficient in writing, and having that hard pressure will not be helpful. And also the opposite is be writing really lightly, right? Because then you actually are unable to read what you write, or as you're writing, kind of can be wrapped off as well. So because it's so light. So I guess the things that you can do is do stuff, activities that are proprioceptive for the fingers, right? So things like, using the hole punchers, very good. Pop beads, Play-Doh, clay, Legos, opening and closing containers. Anything with resistance is actually really good. And the great thing is, at the same time, it's actually strengthening those little fingers, which is what we want. Now, for the kiddos that are already writing and kind of have that really dark or really light or really dark pressure, one of the strategies that I use is I get them to tell them, okay, try to press as really hard as you can and just scribble. So I get them to go as hard as they can and just scribble. And then I say, do it as lightly as you can. So then, and this is kind of like really kind of getting that awareness, right? And then they try to do it as lightly as they can, right? And then I say, you guys kind of really see it too. And then I say, okay, let's do one which is not as hard and not as light, but in the middle. Okay. And then what you can do is like, okay, whenever we do any writing, I want you to be, and you can kind of even circle it, right? I want you to press this hard, okay? And I would keep this paper actually on the table or anything like that. And that will really help them with being able to kind of visually reflect, okay, I remember when I pressed really hard and when I pressed really light and then kind of in the middle. So that's one tip. Another tip is, putting a mouse pad underneath the paper and then writing. The harder they press, the more holes they will be doing. So it gives them that kind of feedback. Using vibrating pens are also really fun activity because it does stimulate proprioceptive sense and gives them kind of builds a little bit more awareness. So this is just an example of it. Basically, it just kind of starts shaking and you can do lots of wiggly drawings. Mechanical pencils are also really great because the harder you press, what happens? The lead breaks. And lastly, what I would recommend is to kind of wake up those hands and give them a little bit more feedback is you can say, okay, let's put our writing gloves on. And then to start with, I would get you to do it, is kind of squeeze each of their fingers and kind of rub it, kind of give it a bit of a massage. Um, and I mean, like, give like nice deep pressure. And then, like, okay, and then we're going to put that glove all the way up. And you really press it really hard. And you can do it all the way up to like the elbow. And then repeat with the other hand. And I would do it quite a few times, because a lot of times if kids do it to themselves, then they don't really put that much pressure. So I would maybe you do it and then get them to do it and says, okay, our hands are ready for writing, and then get them to write. Okay, the next thing is all about kind of that finger manipulation. So being able to kind of use that pincer grasp, because we would really want the kind of the pencil to be pinched. So we want to kind of get that pinching fingers stronger. So great games, Operation, lots of really fine kind of work over there. Battleship, playing with tweezers. Tweezers is also really great because it helps to develop an open web space, which is also important for when you are writing. Wind-up toys, also really fun. Pop beads, stamps, stickers. Again, you gotta use those pinching fingers to kind of get those stickers off. You know, those kind of small squeeze toys, they also really fun. Like, you can kind of do a bit of a target in the bathtub and get them to squeeze it, or even outside, you know, targets, or, you know, hang a little balloon off a branch and then, you know, get them to squeeze the water on it. Or if they drove the chalk on the floor, and get them to squeeze it again. Really great kind of strengthening those fingers. If your kid is more into kind of the craft thing, you can get tissue paper and crumple it out with the fingers to kind of use for craft, to kind of decorate something. Or getting Play-Doh, ripping out little pieces of Play-Doh and then trying to roll in between those fingers. That's also kind of going to be helpful. So the last thing is all about kind of teaching your child how to hold that pencil. And again, if you do have a kiddo who's kind of under second or third grade, it's going to be much easier for you to be able to teach them or kind of correct their pencil grasp. Kids that are higher, kind of their movements have become much more automatic and mature. So it takes a lot of conscious effort to actually fix those inefficient pencil grasps. And you know, this might be the time that you might want to put kind of those pencil grips on the kids' pencils to help and support them. But basically, the way I like to teach the kids is you also want to make sure that they pinch the pencil. What you can do is you can put a little wiki stick around here, or a little bit of washi tape to give them kind of a prompt, a visual prompt of where to put it. So not to hold it up high or too low, where to put it. You want to try to avoid kind of fingers going across because that really also limits how you can move. Now, the way I like to kind of I tell a little story when I teach them, so we can have basically a pencil is a plane, okay? We can have the pilot and the co-pilot, so it could be Peter the pilot or Penny the pilot, and the co-pilot and the flight attendant. They all support the plane to make sure that it runs smoothly. And then these are the passengers, and the passengers have to make sure that they sit and in their chair, so they need to kind of be curled up. Now, if these passengers are moving around too much, they need to make sure they hold on to their luggage as well. So this is kind of a tip. And again, as I mentioned before, it will take a lot of practice to kind of get them for this to become automatic. So make sure you keep telling them that story. Every time they start doing their work, you say, okay, let's check. Is the pilot, co-pilot, and flight attendant ready to fly the plane? And to kind of give them kind of that clue. Another tip is what you can do is use broken crayons. So Small crayons, these are awesome because your child cannot fist it to write, they can't hold their fingers up high. So a lot of awkward grips can actually be reduced by getting your kids to draw or color with broken crayons, because it kind of makes them hold it with their three fingers. So that's kind of important. The last thing is to get your kiddos, once they're able to hold the pencil correctly, you want to start teaching kind of that pencil control to get those distal fingers working, right? So this is just a couple of activities. One of them, this is kind of my little confetti drawing, and you could see I have different circles. They are different colors, but they are also different sizes. So the smaller it is, the harder the distant fingers will need to work, because it's much easier to kind of use your bigger fingers when you're coloring the bigger ones. So for the younger kids, you can start with the bigger ones, but then definitely move to kind of the smaller ones. As you see, you're just pretty much just using those fingers to be able to color, which is what we want. Another thing is you can get like little popsicle sticks, and you can have the kids decorate them. You can make little puppets out of it, and it's narrow, so you can't use your whole hand to be able to draw. You need kind of that pencil control and kind of precision to be able to decorate on here. And it's funny because when I was getting my stuff ready for this presentation, I found my my 4-year-old, kind of with an empty roll of washi tape, and he was doing, he was drawing on here. So again, you need that fine motor, kind of control and the precision to be able to kind of draw on that. So it forces the fingers to be able to do that, which is what we want. So that's it for me for today. I hope that you guys found some useful information in here and some great things that you can do with your kiddos. If you want more information or more activities, what I would recommend, I will be running a course called Equipped to Learn at the end of this month. You can find all the information on my website, but actually what I'll do is I might post a link in the comments just after we're done. So if you're interested to kind of finding out more about this and kind of all the other stuff that your kiddo needs to kind of be ready for school, make sure you check it out and see if that's something that will suit you. And I see Tanya saying thank you. You are very welcome. And again, I hope you guys found this useful. And I'll see you all next week. Take care. Bye.